Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news, updates, debates and my opinions. If you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. We're on the way to 11,900 subscribers. And of course, if you could like the video or the stream, I would be incredibly grateful. It is good to be back, finally. Look, I had a great time away, but also I missed this. I missed doing this, and I was itching to get back to it. There's loads of you here already, which we absolutely love to see. I've missed a load of stuff. The Emil Smith Rowe, here we go, which was sad. The Calafiori announcement, Arsenal versus Manchester United, and we will try and cover some of that stuff, but there's also just so much new stuff going on as well that we are going to get into. But look, loads of you, absolutely loads of you here. Ethan Udall, Anu Brata, Vivi, Vlad, El Minister, Steve Pereira, Pekka, Emil Woodsy, Leeds Gunner, Matthew, Shaq, Sam, Boss Bubbler, Hyper, Devin, Carter, Emilio, Lord Ferguson of Aberdeen, Mia Tentego, Lukey, Vivi, Vlad, Hannah, Hi, and many, many more. Look, it is fantastic to see you. It's absolutely roasting hot as well. Honestly, I mean, it was hot. It was hot in Italy, right? It was like 38 degrees, but they're prepared for that. So everywhere has aircon, whereas here we don't. So it is just, it is sweaty. How was the holiday? It was good. Do you know what? Shout out to Rome and Italy. I've been to a fair few places. You know, I've been to Paris and Amsterdam and Cairo and Mexico and New York. That's the best city, the most enjoyable city I've ever been to. And I live in London, but that's the most enjoyable city. And I don't know, it felt like it caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting it to be as nice as it was. Everything ran on time. Everything was clean. The restaurants were amazing. It was cheap. And not cheap in the way that some other places are, but it was just like proper value. It was really, really nice. Really nice. And obviously went and saw all of the history of the place, which is crazy. And the way they've looked after that history and respect that history was awesome. So yeah, look, I would highly recommend, if you ever get the opportunity, to go to Rome and to go to Italy. And we actually want to go back and explore more of Italy in the future as well. So yeah. Very, very nice indeed. But it is good to be back. And look, we got loads to get into, so we're just gonna start. Fabrizio Romano, literally just now on YouTube, was talking about Merino to Arsenal, and he said both Barcelona and Atletico Madrid feel that Merino is giving total priority to Arsenal, and the people close to Merino feel that Arteta is the best coach for him. So as it stands, Barca and Atletico, as much as they want him, they feel like basically Arsenal have the attention of Merino at the moment, and it is going to be down to us to get that deal done. We know that Real Sociedad are giving or have offered him a new deal, and they do want to keep him themselves. But I feel like it's only a matter of time before the Merino deal goes through. I would be very, very shocked at this point if we get to the end of the window and Mikel Merino is not an Arsenal player. Other bits of news around that. Gunner Blog said Mikel Arteta would like to add a central midfield player with Mikel Merino among the targets. However, no headway has yet been made in negotiations with Real Sociedad. Amid interest from several clubs, Merino also has an offer to renew his contract at Sociedad. Sport said Mikel Merino has a proposal from Arsenal. Merino's future is still open, with the player aiming for a departure from Real Sociedad this summer. And then Joaquin Aperebe, who is the president of Real Sociedad, said Mikel Merino has had an offer to renew for over a year, and he has not renewed yet. It is because he does not want to mislead the La Real fans, which speaks well of him. So he's had the offer there for over a year. He's not taken them up on it yet because he doesn't want to take it and then leave. But yeah, I would say the most important... Oh, he also said, I'd like him not to leave. We all would. But if he tells us that he accepts another offer on the table and wants us to negotiate, we will. We know he has some, and we know what they are. We still hope he will stay, but if not, we will negotiate the best outcome for La Real. But yeah, I'd say the Fabrizio information there is the best information. It's the most positive information in that he wants to, we have his attention, which feels like it's ours to fumble at this point. So Merino giving Ceballos vibes. Elaborate for me. Elaborate for me on what those Ceballos vibes are in terms of like him as a player, or what? We have a good relationship with them because of Tierney. Yeah, possibly. You'd hope so. You would hope so. Moving on. I don't know. We'll stay on Merino for a minute, actually. Look, I think now that we've got Calafiori done, and that is a big signing, I think that left 8 makes the most sense as the next option. Now, the question is Merino enough? And that will always be the question. And if we get Merino, and this ties into something we're going to talk about in a little bit, if we get Merino, is that it for our midfield business? Or do we go and get another? What are we streaming tonight? I'm not actually sure. Look, we'll be live on Twitch tonight. Link to that is down in the description. I'm not actually sure. We might just have to play FIFA tonight, to be honest, because I need to do all of Foot Champs, and I've only got until 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, so it might be that. Missed you during the holiday. Glad to see you back. It's good to be back. It is good to be back. Surely there's a better 8 out there. Name them. There probably are, but I think long term, without spending a lot of money, Merino is one of the best options. I do think that genuinely. Ollie Price says that Arsenal hold an interest in Morgan Gibbs-White. Now, this is an interesting one. Ollie Price, he runs the Fresh Arsenal podcast. He does a bit of writing for the BBC. But interestingly, he was ahead of the game on Smith Road to Fulham. So this is one of those where you have some very niche contacts, right? And he was ahead of everyone on Smith Rowe moving to Fulham. And he believes that Arsenal hold an interest in Morgan Gibbs-White and that the source is the same source. New haircut and a bit tanned. Yes. Yeah, a little bit tanned. Do you know what? It was so hot that we didn't spend a crazy amount of time in the actual sun. So not crazily tanned. But yeah, Mo, it's good to see you anyway. I hope you are doing well. I do hope you're doing well. But yeah, so Morgan Gibbs-White is an interesting one. And I do think, okay, let's say we get Merino, right? Merino is an 8. I'd imagine he could probably play as a 6 if he needed to, but hopefully we wouldn't need him to. Morgan Gibbs-White is a bit like Eze, who we've also been interested in. And I do think that's a profile that we're clearly looking at. And that is a player that can play as a really much more of an attacking 8 or a 10, even though we don't normally play with a 10, or as a winger. So I do find it interesting that we have that interest in Morgan Gibbs-White. And then that ties a little bit into something else, which is that Arsenal have set a £30 million asking price for Aaron Ramsdale. As things stand, it is understood that although Nottingham Forest and Southampton are interested, they would not be willing to pay £30 million. It remains to be seen if Arsenal will end up lowering their demands. Now, I do see potentially a world in which there's a deal to be done. Ramsdale going one way, Morgan Gibbs-White coming the other way. Now, that being said, I mean, we screwed them over by sending them Matt Turner once, so I don't know how they'll feel about taking Ramsdale. But, I mean, 30 million seems low for Ramsdale, in my opinion, anyway. But if we could somehow work a deal where we bring Morgan Gibbs-White the other way, that would be interesting. I do think that would be interesting. I mean, what are your opinion? What are your thoughts on Morgan Gibbs-White? I'd take Morgan Gibbs-White. Orney versus Fams, pick. Orney. Always Orney. Morgan Gibbs-White is a better fit than Eze as Smith Rowe's replacement. Less expensive and a better fit. Really love the idea of him at Arsenal. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one. I've seen some people saying, why get Morgan Gibbs-White? That's just going to block off Nwaneri's pathway, right? And I disagree with that. And the reason I disagree with that is that if we need a player to play that role now, as impressive as Nwaneri has been so far, I don't think he's ready as a 17-year-old to take on that role. And so I don't think it would be holding Nwaneri back to bring someone like Morgan Gibbs-White in. Can we look at him on FOTMob? I personally would love him at Arsenal. Yeah, we can have a look. Dos segundos, por favor. But we can have a look at it. Let's have a gander. Where is it? There it is. Right. So, sort this out. Look at this. I've made it so everything looks neat and tidy. Morgan Gibbs-White. I don't think I've looked at this at any point. I mean, this is nice. This is the thing, right? This is the key. You can play as an attacking midfielder, which would be an attacking 8,
for certain games, or he can play off the left or the right. That is nice. I mean, last season he was very, very good. That, meh, not brilliant. This, I mean, his pass accuracy isn't great, but he tries audacious things, right? He tries risky passes. I mean, in a way, it doesn't look great. It doesn't look great on paper. But again, this is where you always have to be careful, because whilst it doesn't look great on paper, I watched him a lot last season and I was impressed. So interesting. Make of that, because that's the thing. Look at these. Look at the amount of like top performances he puts in. You know, the greenery is nice, but you can't always rely on the greenery, is what I would say. But yeah, so look, I mean, it's, you know, the eye test. Yeah, exactly. It is like the Onana links. Do you see we're giving Obi-Martin, United are giving Obi-Martin 30 grand a week? Yeah, we'll talk about that. So Chido Obi-Martin, that's another bit of news, actually. According to All Nigeria Soccer, who was the first person to break the new... Do you actually remember, at one point, it sounded from quite a few people like Chido Obi-Martin was going to stay. And this All Nigeria Soccer was the first one to say, no, he's leaving. It's all but confirmed that he's leaving. And everyone was like, don't really trust that source. They were right. And they've said Arsenal offered Chido Obi-Martin £15,000 a week in his first professional contract. Manchester United gladly doubled those wages to secure the player's signature. So we offered 15 grand a week. Now, to put that into context, players like Calafiori's joined on about 60 grand a week. He is an established international for Italy who has played at a high level in Serie A. Chido Obi-Martin has not even proven himself at under 21 level yet. And he wanted 30 grand a week. That's insane. Now, bear in mind also, and this is even in terms of how we've already changed our academy structure, until recently, the first professional contract that we would offer people out of the academy was 2 grand a week. I think Charlie Patino is still on 2 grand a week. That's what we were offering academy players. Now, we broke that for Ethan Nwaneri. But the idea of giving 30 grand a week to Chido, it is a joke. It's a joke. For ultimately, for someone who's not even proven himself at under 21s, let alone senior football, there's just no way. There's no way. There are other sources. So Darmesh from Sky Sports is claiming that it was nothing to do with money. It wasn't money motivated at all. And that Chido Obi-Martin didn't feel like he had a pathway at Arsenal. That's just bollocks. Like, literally, Darmesh, like, he never reports kindly on Arsenal anyway. There is no way you would look at Man United, who have currently 2 under-23 strikers that they've spent over £100 million on, and would look at that as a striker and go, that's a better pathway than at Arsenal. There's no way whatsoever. So, yeah, look, it probably was money motivated. And do you know what? Put yourselves in his shoes. Now, first of all, he's got his agent in his ear going, yeah, take that. Take that money. Take that money. You know, some of that's going in my back pocket, right? So he's got that in his ear. But also, you don't know how your career is going to go. And as a 16-year-old, if he looked at it logically, how many 16-year-olds actually go on and make it big time? Not many. He's got an opportunity for however long that contract is to earn 30 grand a week. Well, what's 30 grand a week? Let's do a bit of mathematics. What is 30 grand a week for 52 weeks a year? Just over 1.5 million. Even if he's on a 2-year contract, he's going to make over 3 million quid on that deal. Job done. Even if he never makes it as a footballer, he'll have 3 million in the bank by the time he's 18. So in some ways, I look at it and I go, fair enough. And it's not like he's going to Manchester United. It's still a decent step for him. And so in that sense, I look at it and I say, fair enough. On the other hand, I look at it and I go, well, okay, but even we were offering 15 grand a week. So you were guaranteed over 1.5 million. Of course, there's tax, right? Yeah, okay. It's not going to be 3 million in the bank because there's tax, but you get the point. I mean, he probably will have 3 million in the bank, right? Because God knows what sort of sponsorship sponsorship deals and all that stuff he'll get. Anyway, point is, he's gonna have a lot of money, but he'd have had half of that even if he'd taken the Arsenal gig. And if that gig had enabled him to go on and have a far better professional career, it would have made him far, far richer. So there's balance to it, right? There's balance to it. But ultimately, I would say this: I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered because I think he would have become less him, more his agent would have become a problem down the line. If he's already on 30 grand a week, what's the next negotiation? When he's 18 and then he wants his first like senior contract, what's he going to be asking for then? He's on more money than Obi-Martin, for example, at Manchester United. So when Obi-Martin now goes to get a new contract, he's going to be saying, well, I mean, Chido Obi-Martin's playing in the under-21s and he's earning more money than me. It becomes a real big problem. And then every upcoming academy player, they use Chido as the baseline. Well, I want what he was on, at least. It becomes a real difficult thing to get under control. Smith Rowe just completed his medicals. He did, yeah. Emil Smith Rowe has completed his medical. He's gone, and it's sad. But do you know what? On that, I spoke about it yesterday on TikTok. I think we pretty much got the best that we could get for him, realistically. It'd be interesting, from everything that we've heard, or I haven't heard anything that suggests there are any clauses in that Smith Rowe deal. I've not heard anything about a buyback clause, a sell-on clause, a first refusal. Even a simple first refusal whereby if Fulham want to sell him, we get first dibs. Or we have or matching rights, where if Fulham are going to sell him to, I don't know, Chelsea for 50 million, we have matching rights that say, okay, if you're going to do it for 50 million, we'll give you the same amount and we get him. As far as I've heard, there's nothing like that at all, which is quite sad if that's the case, because it means that we have no sort of control. And if he does come good, we might have to watch him get then a big move to a rival, and that would be tough. Give Nwaneri the 10. I feel like we should wait. I feel like you wait. Those numbers, look, it was cool when we did it. Giving Saka 7 worked. Giving Martinelli 11 arguably worked. We gave Eddie 14. Didn't work. We gave Smith Rowe 10. End of the day, it didn't work. I feel like we should kind of take those numbers back to meaning something a little bit. So you either sign a big name and they get it, or you wait until you're absolutely certain. He's played 9 full games in 2 years. 35 mil is an absolute steal. Well, that's the thing, right? And if you look around, I've seen a lot of rival fans. Saying, how have Arsenal got 34 million for him? Because anyone that doesn't have that connection to Smith Rowe that we have and is able to look at it completely objectively, kind of looks at it and goes, this is a guy that basically hasn't played in the last 2 years. Wasn't really part of their project going forwards, and they've managed to get 34 million for him. So yeah, Kai Havertz to inherit the 14. No, Kai Havertz has his number wherever he goes. I can't remember. I remember reading why he has that number. There's a reason that Kai Havertz has his number, which I can't remember now. But he'll keep that number. Yeah, maybe Ødegaard 10, but I feel like Ødegaard just is the 8 now. Yeah, but I don't know what 29 means. Julian Alvarez? No. I don't see... we've been linked to Julian Alvarez a little bit. Man City will not sell us Julian Alvarez. I promise you. Man City were frightened by what happened with Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus at the time. If we'd beaten them that first season, that it would have been humiliating for them, truly. They value Julian Alvarez a lot more highly than they valued Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus, and we are now directly rivals with them. They will not sell us Alvarez, I promise. New Fabrizio tweet? What is it? What's the new Fabrizio tweet? It better be about Arsenal. Or is it just to say that Is it just to say that Smith Rowe completed his medical? Okay, yeah. Yeah. Successfully completed his medical. There you go. They'll accept a lower offer from abroad rather than sell to us, I'm sure. Yeah, they would. From Spain. He'll go to Spain. I can see him ending up at Atletico Madrid. 100% I can see him ending up at Atletico. He's a great player, but it's just not going to happen. Apparently, Sane is the mystery German, but we're not going to get him. I don't think Sane was the mystery German, right? I'll tell you what I think has happened. I think we have shown a little bit of interest in Leroy Sane because we know we're looking for a winger and we're looking around and he's having contract issues. I think there's a little bit of people protecting themselves by saying, yeah, Sane was the mystery German actually, but it's not going to happen now. I don't think he was. I don't believe that story. Even though at the time I thought Sane might have been the mystery German, I think the way it's come out since then, I don't think he was. Because why would they suddenly say it now? Like it doesn't add up. That whole story just doesn't add up. They need a striker with Morata leaving. Yeah, probably. Other things today. What? Gyökeres. That was one of the big things. Look, now this is interesting, right? So I just have this growing feeling that Gyökeres is going to happen at the end of the window. I don't like. There's logic to it. There is logic to it, but I've just got this feeling. And so this came from Football London today. According to Portuguese newspaper Bola na Rede, Coventry's sell-on clause for Gyökeres has been reduced by 5% following an agreement with the Portuguese club. Sporting paid €1 million to Coventry to reduce the sell-on clause from 15% to 10%. So just to make that simple, Coventry, when they sold Gyökeres to Sporting, they had some add-ons, some of which have now been paid, but they also had a 15% sell-on clause. Sporting have now just given them €1 million and said, can we reduce the sell-on clause from 15% to 10%? And Coventry have said yes. Now, that's a gamble in one sense from Coventry, right? Effectively, Coventry is saying, we don't think you're going to end up selling him for as much as you think you are. We'd rather take a guaranteed €1 million now, and then we'll still get that 10% when you eventually sell him. Now, why would Sporting be doing this? I think because they want to sell him this summer. By doing that, by reducing it from 15% to 10%, it means they can lower the price of Gyökeres and still make the same money themselves, right? So they can make the same money, but by selling him at a lower price. Why have they done that this summer? Because they know they need to sell him this summer. They know they need to sell him this summer. They want to sell him this summer, but no one was there for the price that they wanted. No one was there for the 86 million buyout clause. That's my feeling. They want to sell him this summer. Now, Arsenal 100% have been interested in Gyökeres, not at the price that they initially wanted, but I just feel like it's going to happen. It's just a feeling. There's, if he came to us, 5% is not 1 mil. Well, no, but that's the. What do you mean? No, the point is, right? Let's say he ends up going for 60 million, right? That means that Coventry will get 6 million from their sell-on clause. Their 10% sell-on clause, Coventry gets 6 million. If it had still been at 15%, they'd have got 9 million. So in that sense, Coventry would have missed out on 2 million. But Coventry are gambling on the fact that he's not going to go for 60 million this summer. And they know that they can still get the 6 million. Let's say, if he does go for 60 million, they can still get their 6 million and they've got $1 million guaranteed this summer. So it's an interesting one. But also, again, similarly to how we saw previously, I can't remember which case it was. Well, it was the Calafiori one with Basel and Bologna. Similarly, Sporting can turn to Coventry and go, we're not going to sell him this summer if there's a 15% sell-on clause. So you can either get 10% of 60 million or 15% of nothing. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just absolute hope. Maybe it is just pure hope from me. But I have that hope. I have that hope. The last day of the transfer window, Arsenal announced our new striker, Viktor Gyökeres. How would you feel if that happened? The live stream would be absolute limbs. The live stream would be limbs. Did you see the Xhaka comments? I thought it was fine. Yeah, didn't really bother me. If you haven't seen it, Xhaka was in an interview and he said leaving Arsenal wasn't taking a step back, it was taking 2 steps forward. I don't have an issue with that. Some Arsenal fans have taken deep offence to it as if it's like a massive diss at Arsenal. I think he's right. I think for his career, it was a forward step. And I think he was responding to the fact that at the time, realistically, when he left Arsenal and joined Bayer Leverkusen, there were probably people in his comments or whatever that would have told him that's a step backwards. You're going from a team that's competing for the Premier League to, a Bundesliga side that will compete for maybe the Champions League. But actually, it turned out that he won the league. He went unbeaten. They were steps forward. He is a huge part of that team. So, I don't really have an issue with that. 9 away from 100. Let's go. Can we get to 200? Yeah, come on. There's over 300 of you in here. If you could like the video, just take a second out of your busy schedule to like the video. I would be very, very grateful. Moving on, Ihsan Khan, who works for the Daily Mail, had an exclusive interview, I think, with either Arteta or the club. He said those around Arsenal believe this could well be Ethan Nwanery's real breakthrough season. He is mature beyond his years, and Arteta sees the potential in him. So that's interesting on Nwanery. And look, I mean, so far, the 2 preseason games that we've played, we played against a full senior Bournemouth team, and Nwanery looked completely comfortable. We then played against a Manchester United team with a few kids in it, but also a lot of big senior names. Ethan Nwanery looked comfortable. So I do think he is ready to play significant game time in the first team this season. I wouldn't have him starting against Man City at the Etihad, but I think he is capable of starting games potentially against your Southamptons and your Ipswich Towns and whatever. And I think he's capable of coming off the bench and genuinely impacting games as well. And it sounds like the club kind of feel that way too, which is really, really good. And we'll see how much more he features during preseason. Look, the final game against Liverpool in America, I think, will be similar to the United game. And then when we come back, the 2 Emirates Cup games, I think that's when we'll start really ramping it up and we'll start seeing something much closer to the real starting 11 that we can expect to see at the start of the season. So it will be interesting to see. Thoughts on Salah? Yeah, under the radar a little bit. Under the radar, Salah. But I think he's been impressive. Again, looks pretty comfortable on the ball. Looks ambitious as well. I think Miles Lewis-Skelly's looked good. I think Aiden Heaven, he made that mistake, all right, fair enough for the opening United goal. I've been impressed with these guys. And look, I think some people are going to actually end up eating their words when it comes to Arteta and youth development. I really do. I think the truth will be that the level has just raised. The level has raised, and Arteta's and interestingly, from that interview with Ihsan Khan, it also said that Arteta personally feels a heavy responsibility for the welfare of academy players. If a player is rushed too quickly into first team football, he fears of the long-term effect that it can have on a player. Arteta is also acutely aware that it is him that is to blame if it all goes wrong. Something he could do without when he's already facing the daily pressures of needing to win week in, week out. Nichols looked good second half as well at right back. Locked Jadon Sancho up. So, yeah, there's been a lot of good performances from those youngsters, which is good to see. But, yeah, look, I think there is a lot. There's so much pressure on Arteta, and it's difficult. How do you balance it all? How do you balance playing new academy? Because this was one of the things when we sold Smith Rowe and people saying he should have had more game time. Well, if Smith Rowe got more game time next season, arguably that would be eating into Nwanery's game time. Like Smith Rowe is at the age now where he's not really, he's not an academy player. He's a senior. So it's like, how do you balance giving those players game time that people feel need more game time, giving academy products a pathway, selling players for a big profit, which we've also been accused of doing badly, and ultimately competing with Man City. Like, how are you meant to balance all of those things? Very, very difficult to do. And I think Arteta actually, If Nwaneri comes through and breaks into being a regular first-team footballer, I think that's actually case closed. That is actually case closed, because you look around at that point and you go, there has been no one between Saka and Nwaneri that has been at a level to compete at the top, because none of the players that we've let go in that time have gone on to do that. And so if Nwaneri does it, it just proves that we were just waiting for the best talent to come along, a talent that is good enough. So we'll see. But I do think it's quite interesting. I know Hayne will be loaned, but honestly, if we sell Rambo, I wouldn't mind Hayne as our backup keeper. Yeah, Hayne will be loaned. And look, it's an interesting one, right? It sounds like we're going for Bentley still from Wolves, and it sounds like a deal is going to be done there. But the difficult thing is this. Hayne wants game time. Hayne would not get game time unless Raya picked up an injury. Maybe a Carabao Cup appearance or two. I also don't think we've even got room to have a cup keeper. Not Carl Hayne as the cup keeper. If we're really going for the cups this season, which I think we need to, we have to win, like absolute bare minimum, we have to win a cup this season. You know, really, we should be winning the title. Well, should be is maybe a stretch, but I do feel like winning a title is well within us now. But bare minimum, we should be winning a cup. Is Arteta going to rotate the keeper as part of that? I'm not sure. Tony, thank you very, very much for the $5 Australian super chat. Coventry is only entitled to capital gains from sporting for a Gyökeres deal. So it's 24 million minus 60. Interesting. So it's actually, it's not full sell on. It's, you're right. So it's actually, it's 10% of the profit that Sporting make, not 10% of the entire sale. So actually, if it was, so actually it would be a lot closer. So that makes sense. Very good point. The Gyokeres news is that. The Gyokeres news is that Sporting have negotiated with Coventry, reducing the sell-on clause that Coventry have from 15% down to 10%. They've paid Coventry €1 million to do that. Long story short, it basically means Sporting are preparing to sell him, right? They want to sell him this summer, basically. Is Fabian Ruiz good enough to be the first choice if Merino is the backup? I mean, it would be interesting. I genuinely think they'd battle. I know Fabian Ruiz started for Spain and was the first choice for Spain, but I think it's quite, I don't know, that would be interesting. I mean, apparently the Fabian Ruiz story was a bit of a nonsense, so we'll see. Interestingly as well today, doesn't necessarily relate to us, but it might do later in the window. Viktor Osimhen. Now, I don't know if he's actually still got it up. Let me have a look if he's still got it up. So David Ornstein this morning tweeted, and I did not understand it. David Ornstein tweeted this morning. Napoli are in ongoing talks with Chelsea to sign Romelu Lukaku, whilst discussions between Napoli and Chelsea are also taking place about a move for Viktor Osimhen in the opposite direction. Lukaku would be permanent, so Lukaku would move permanently from Chelsea to Napoli, but Osimhen would go on a season-long loan to Chelsea with a buy option. Now, in every way, shape, or form, that is an amazing deal for Chelsea. They get cash for Lukaku, and they get Lukaku off their books, which is what they're desperate to do. And then they get a try before you buy of Viktor Osimhen. So instead of taking what is a risk on Osimhen, you know, you're going to pay big money for Osimhen. You buy him, it's a risk because there's no guarantee that he comes to the Premier League and performs well. We've seen plenty of good Serie A strikers, top Serie A strikers, come to the Premier League and struggle. But with an option to buy, not even an obligation, an option to buy, that's an unbelievable try before you buy deal. I find that very interesting. Now, after that, Fabrizio Romano reported that the agent of Osimhen had completely nonsensed that story. Said it was complete nonsense. That Osimhen was, I can't remember exactly what he said, but along the lines of it was disgraceful to suggest that Osimhen would go on loan, that he's this incredibly high value player, yada, yada, yada. But that's agent talk, right? Now, the agent has a role to play as well. Now, this is the interesting thing. So you've kind of got Fabrizio against Ornstein at that point. After that, Ornstein pinned that tweet. So that is basically not backing down. The opposite of backing down. That is Ornstein saying, I'm right, and I'm doubling down on it, and I'm pinning this tweet, and you're all going to come back to it. So, was Orny wrong? Well, we don't know. We don't know because, of course, the agent has a part to play, right? The agent is still shopping Osimhen around for the best deal. But if Napoli, for whatever reason, and I don't understand why Napoli would accept that deal, I think it sounds like an absolutely awful deal for Napoli. Because Napoli could end up in the situation where Osimhen comes to the Premier League, stinks it up in the Premier League, goes back to Napoli, Chelsea don't trigger the buy option, and Napoli have an even further devalued Osimhen on their books. So I don't get it. I don't get it. But Ornstein is sticking to it big time. Ornstein is absolutely sticking to it. Now, if that's available, like this is the thing. If that's available, if you're Arsenal, are you not looking at it going, well, we could just offer to buy him from Napoli, and surely that would be better than him going on loan. But I don't know, because again, equally, PSG couldn't come to a deal. PSG were offering big money for him. Not the release clause, but they were offering big money. And Napoli didn't want it. So I don't know. It seems like a very, very bizarre deal. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Buy option triggered if they qualify for the UCL. That's a massive gamble, though. That is a huge gamble from Napoli. Would you gamble on Chelsea qualifying for the Champions League this season? I don't think they will. I don't think Chelsea are going to qualify for the Champions League. Massive gamble. And a gamble that I just feel like they don't need to take. But I don't know. We'll wait and see. It's a very interesting one. And this is the thing. I think the end of this transfer window is going to be unbelievable. I think the end of this transfer window, like Osimhen, Gyökeres, I mean, so many clubs need players. It's weird. It's weird. Here in Portugal, we're talking about Sporting buying a new striker. Who's that guy? Is that even a real name? I mean, I don't think you'd troll me, but I just never know these days. No, but I think that is a troll name. What does it mean? What does that troll name mean? What does that troll name mean? I'm trying to work it. Loanidis? I don't want to say it. It's real? But from Panathinaikos. What, are you spelling it right? Why is he not on why can I not find him? I can't find him on FotMob. Where is he? Oh, he is here. Yeah, he is here. Okay. 24-year-old, right-footed, market value of 13 million. He looks decent, to be fair. He looks pretty good. Oh, it's an I. That's why. He looks pretty good. Well, there you go. You're looking for a replacement for Gyökeres. He's coming to Arsenal. He's coming to the Arsenal. Come on. It's got to be. It's got to be. It's got to be. And that's why we're saving money. Like, look, sell Nketiah, sell Reece Nelson. Do you know what? Do people still think we should sell Reece Nelson? We definitely should still sell Reece Nelson, but 15 million just feels like an absolute scam. It's once again watching him in preseason. Like, he just looks quality. He looks quality, and I just feel like 15 million's a scam again. Sell both? No, definitely sell Nketiah. 100% sell Nketiah. But I don't know, 15 million for Smith Rowe, for Reece Nelson just doesn't feel enough. Now, if he goes to Spurs, there will be generational head loss from me. I'm not even joking. If he goes to Spurs, I will lose it. All profit? Yeah, it is all profit, but I feel like it should be over 20 at least. I mean, hopefully the preseason is helping us with selling him anyway. Gyökeres, Merino, and Fabian Ruiz, and we run right on the Prem. I still think that leaves us a winger light. I'll tell you what, Gabriel Jesus, I'm very happy with at the moment. I'm excited about Gabriel Jesus going into the season. I'm also excited about Yuri and Timber. I genuinely feel like we have a more than comfortable Saliba backup in Yuri and Timber. Not the same level, right? And you know, you wouldn't want to have Timber covering for Saliba against City or in a big Champions League game. But against the lesser teams, I think we can handle having Timber over Saliba. I think we can rest Saliba in some of the easier games. And we just did not have that before. We did not have that ability before. 54 more likes, 58 more likes. Come on, get us up to 200 likes, please. Come on. Why United fans so upset that our first goal? It's a friendly. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen it. I did a 5 things we learned from the United game on TikTok. The amount of United fans in the comments literally losing their heads about it being offside. Relax. They're going to be talking. Honestly, we're going to be in like December, right? And we'll have a game coming up again. Actually, I don't know when we play Man United, but when we come up against Man United, you know, Eric Ten Hag's going to be in the press conference talking about the offside goal in preseason. He's going to be there. He is going to be there. Turn your back and refuse to speak until we hit 200. No. That's not. Look, only like the stream if you're liking the stream, you know? Only like it if you're liking it. I'll get the message. What are your thoughts on VAR? Have you seen the protests in the Norwegian League? The Norwegian League have got it right. But this is what we missed this. We missed the boat, right? On VAR, as soon as VAR came in, it was never going to leave. It could never leave. Because we can't now go back to pre-VAR refereeing. Because the second there's a massive mistake, people will go, oh my God, we should have VAR. The only way that we could ever have stopped VAR was if we stopped it before it arrived, and we didn't, and now it's too late. So now we just have to try and make it the best we can. What's your top 4 next season? Arsenal first, City second, Tottenham Hotspur third, Aston Villa fourth. A lot of people were annoyed at me. Like, look, that is my unbiased opinion. I think Tottenham are going to have a good season. I just do, because they've got stability. They have the one thing that Liverpool don't have, that Chelsea don't have. Man United kind of have it to an extent, but they've got stability. I'm sorry. Look. I don't. You know, I'm not gonna deny my own thoughts just because it's Spurs. That's just my feeling. And I also think Villa are going to continue to do well. I'm sorry. Look, if we win the league and Spurs come third, it'll be fucking hilarious. Because Spurs will have had a really good season, right? Spurs will have had a really good season come third, and all anyone will be talking about is Arsenal because we've won the league. So, if I'm right, it's going to be sensational anyway. It doesn't matter. Liverpool haven't signed a single player yet. I think Liverpool fans have this idea that they are like untouchable in the top 3, and I don't know where it's come from. But I've seen Liverpool fans saying there's no way that there are. When I said that they were going to come 5th, there's no way that there are 4 teams that are going to be better than us next season. Like, I think they overperformed last season anyway, right? Even in terms of the amount of points that they accumulated, I think they got lucky. I think there were games that they pulled back. Like, I think they got lucky to get the points that they got in the first place. I think they had a massive kind of thing under Klopp, especially around the time that Klopp said he was going to resign and all that stuff. And they've not improved. If anything, they're going to get worse. Like, I feel like they're going to drop. So their midfield is too weak. Newcastle will be better. Well, I don't know if they will. Newcastle haven't done much in the window. I don't know if Newcastle will be much better, to be honest. I think they'll be scrapping around 6th to 8th. Don't Trent, VVD, and Salah all have 1 year on their contract? They do. They do have 1 year on their contract. Yeah. It's interesting, but yeah, that's just my opinion. I also think Man United are going to finish above Chelsea. Don't know exactly where they'll come, but I do think United will finish above Chelsea. What major changes would you make to VAR for next season? We should be able to hear the whole conversation as it is happening in real time. That's how it works in rugby. It makes it infinitely better. If you can hear them having the full conversation in real time as you're watching the replays, you can at the very least understand their perspective, even if you disagree with it, right? So that should be a thing. I think it should be used far more sparingly. I think it should be. I think the VAR officials should be completely disconnected to the Premier League referees. I think they should be two completely separate entities. They shouldn't be mates. You know, they shouldn't be calling each other by their bloody nicknames. It should be a group of extremely professional VAR officials, and it's the same ones week in, week out, and they make this because that's how you get consistency, right? That's how you get consistency. If it's the same VAR officials week in, week out that have the same threshold for their own intervention, I think that's how you do it. We won't get it. We won't get it because that would make far too much sense. But rugby and cricket really have the best implementation of video technology. Yeah, by a mile. By a mile. But it is what it is. Our last away game next season. Our last game next season is going to be away. It will be, yeah. Semi-auto VAR after the international break, which is good. Yes. I think it's the second international break, though. I think it's the international break in October. After that, we get semi-auto offsides. Will they announce the decision to the fans? I think so. I think so, yeah. Exactly that. Yeah, Chasma. Yeah, exactly that. We overperformed our performance, but underperformed the quality of the players, bailed out time and time again by individual quality. Do you mean Liverpool? Do you mean Liverpool, Rick? Anyway, it is time for Guess the Gooner. I'm going to give you 5 clues about an ex or current Arsenal player, and you have to guess who that player is in the chat. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community. So get your fingers on your keyboards because we are starting now. Yeah, Rick, I agree with you, Rick. I do agree. Clue number 1, this player made 12 appearances for Arsenal without ever scoring a goal. Clue number 1, this player made 12 appearances for Arsenal without ever scoring a goal. Clue number 2, they came through the academy at Arsenal. Clue number 2, they came through the academy at Arsenal. Clue number 3, they were sold in 2018 to PAOK Salonika. Clue number 3, they were sold in 2018 to PAOK Salonika. Clue number 4, they currently play for Ajax. Clue number 4, they currently play for Ajax. And clue number 5, they were the second top scorer in the Championship for Middlesbrough in the 22-23 season. Clue number 5, they were the second top scorer in the Championship for Middlesbrough in the 22-23 season. Who's the player? Who got it first? Who got it first? The people I knew people would guess Calafiori. I knew people straight off the bat would start trying to guess Calafiori. The problem was, okay, I'll be honest with you. I thought about it. I did think about it. The issue was there was no way of doing Calafiori without it just being like insanely obvious from clue 1. And I knew that people would guess it before I even started. So credit to you because the thought did cross my mind, but I had to outsmart you, and I did. Anyway, the winner is 49 Arsenal, 49. Akpom was the answer. 49 Arsenal, 49. Congratulations on being first. Very, very good. Second was Ethan Udall. Very nice. Third was Pekka. Spelt it slightly wrong, but I think that's what he was going for. Fourth was VV Vlad. And 5th was George. So there you go. 49 Arsenal, 49. Congratulations. Autocorrect. Yeah, I think autocorrect got some people. I do think autocorrect got some people. VAR spot on. Goal given. Goal given. And now we are moving on to Guess the Non-Gooner. I'm going to give you the entire career path of a player who does not and has not played for Arsenal. And you have to guess who that player is in the chat. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community, but not as much respect as 49 Arsenal 49 currently has. This player started their career at the Manchester City Youth Academy. This player started their career at the Manchester City Youth Academy. They moved to Celtic. And then they moved to Bayer Leverkusen. City Academy, Celtic, Bayer Leverkusen. Who is the player? And the first person to get it, and he got it very, very quickly, was VV Vlad. It was VV Vlad. It was indeed Jeremy Frimpong. It was Frimpong. Second was Francisco Oliveira. Third was Osama. Fourth was MC Gaming. And fifth was George. So there you go. Well played to all involved. 49 Arsenal, 49 and VV Vlad. Congratulations. Someone said, what time's the game tonight? The game is not tonight. The game is not tonight. Arsenal's next game is tomorrow night, unless I am mistaken. I'm pretty sure Arsenal's next game is tomorrow night, right? Yeah. Arsenal's next game is tomorrow night at midnight if you're in the UK. 12:30. Midnight if you're in the UK. By the way, we're going to be live for a watch along on Tifo. We will be live for a watch along of Arsenal versus Liverpool on Tifo. So any of you that are staying up, I'll see you there. I will see you there. I'm looking forward to it, actually. Looking forward to it a lot. I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be an interesting game, actually. Very interesting game. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Technically, it's on Thursday, right? But it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow night. Does it bother you that we're not buying any South American gems like Chelsea and that? No. Chelsea are just buying up every single child from South America that they can. Good luck. Good luck with them. The reality is this. For every one Martinelli, there's probably 10 Marquinhos. That's the reality. And I think that reality is going to hit them like a truck. Will the Twitch stream end early tomorrow then? It will pretty much roll into, we'll go from Twitch straight into Tifo. So, yeah, the Twitch stream will end probably a normal time, to be honest, like 12:15. And then we'll go straight into the watch along. You reckon we go full strength? Not full strength, because Saliba, Rice, Saka, Raya, Ramsdale, they're not there. But other than that, yeah, probably. Arteta said that Calafiori might get a few minutes at the end, depending on how he does today. So we'll wait and see. Chelsea is Chris Dyson and Dr. Disrespect, for fuck's sake. Oh dear. Anyway, look, on that note, that is going to be the end of the stream. I massively appreciate all of you for being back. I was worried that I'd return and there'd just be no one left watching. So very, very grateful for all of you coming back. If you could click the like button before you jump off, apparently we're 17 likes away from 200. Subscribe if you're new. Like I said, I will be live later on this evening on Twitch. Link to that is down in the description. Other than that, I'll be back tomorrow evening for streams as usual. So I hope you have a fantastic evening and I will catch you all this evening or tomorrow. Goodbye.